Thank you. Hi, everybody. I just want to take this opportunity actually to express our heartfelt thanks to the trustees and the management committee of Purley Food Hub for your support for us at Old Lodge Lane Baptist Church Food Stop over the last year or so. Your donations of food and financial assistance has made a massive difference to the 7,074 people that we've helped in our first 12 months. So for those of you who don't know much about us and how we operate, I'm going to take this opportunity just to explain it to you. So the Food Stop project began as an initiative of Croydon Council, who partnered with a small group of churches and community groups to provide long-term supportive structure for individuals and families who are struggling financially. The idea was to set up social supermarkets using edible food that would have otherwise gone into landfill from the charity Fair Share. At these social supermarkets, which are called food stops, people pay a membership fee of £3.50 to allow them to shop for £20 worth of food. The plan was then to have frontline council staff who would be on hand to support and signpost people to issues with benefits, housing, debt, training and employment. The idea of food stops has always been to lessen the burden on food banks by providing support and assistance to people who need long-term support. And by asking those people who come and shop with us to pay a £3.50 membership fee, it lessens the shame that many people feel when they turn up to take what they think is charity, because there is a transaction and that changes the relationship. And it's also great to see food that was headed for landfill, that's still perfectly edible, being used to help the people who need it the most. So, every Thursday we get a delivery from Fair Share, which is now delivered to us by another partner of Fair Share called the Phoenix Project. And we get around 600 kilos of food on the back of a van that includes fresh fruit and vegetables. It includes chilled food, often meat and dairy products. We get frozen items like pizzas, etc., and some packet food and some tins and some cereal. This then has to be processed by the team of volunteers, because one of the asks from Fair Share is that we need to scrub out all of the barcodes on the food so that it can't be returned to a supermarket in return for cash. Often the food that we receive is close to its best before date or its use by date, but we have to make sure that it's all carefully sorted to make sure that we're not giving anything to anybody that's past its use by date. Often when we get stuff that's near its best before date or over its best before date, we get a certificate from the manufacturer themselves who say this is good for another 6 months or so. And at the beginning of our journey, when we launched, we were getting a lot of tinned food from Fair Share. But however, over the last few months, that's changed, and we're not getting that tinned and packet food anymore from Fair Share. What we get is chilled and frozen and fresh, which has left a gap, which means that the support of Purley Food Hub has made a huge difference, so that we are can you believe it? We ran out of beans. But Purley Food Hub stepped in and we now have more beans than we know what to do with at the moment. But you know what? It makes a massive difference when people walk into our shop, for them to walk into something that looks like a supermarket and they're able to do their own shopping. So we also noticed over the last few months that we wouldn't always get meat delivered, and we felt that giving out meat, fresh meat, was important. And that as things changed, the donations from the Phoenix Project became a little bit more random, and every week we don't know what we're getting until a few hours before it arrives with us, which makes planning very difficult, which has meant that we have had to increase our spending which means that we have to go out and we have to buy meat because we don't know whether we're going to get meat delivered. We have to go out and buy milk because we don't know whether we're going to get milk delivered. But every Thursday afternoon, our volunteers come and they do a wonderful work of scrubbing everything out and sorting out apples and oranges and bananas and all of that sort of thing. And then in the evening, we have another team of volunteers who go to Tesco's in Caterham, the Co-op in Kenley, and the Waitrose in Banstead to collect the food that the supermarkets can't sell the next day. And can you believe it? Perfectly edible food, but if we didn't collect it, it would end up in a wheelie bin, which it's not right. But we are very glad to take that off their hands. And Waitrose are particularly good with us. Often on a Friday morning, we give out sirloin steak to people who visit, which raises a smile. And I think that's one of the best things about what we do. So then we head to Friday morning. So on Friday morning, our team, a core team of about 7 volunteers, open our shop at 9 o'clock, only to discover there's been a queue since 8 a.m. And people who visit the shop come and they pay a membership fee of £3.50, and that membership fee gives them the right to come and to shop in our social supermarket. So they pay, we take their details, and then we take them through to an area that has 3 fridges and 2 double freezers that were purchased with a grant from Croydon Community Fund. They get to choose items from those freezers and their fridges, and then they go through to our supermarket shop space. And Croydon Council again have been very good to us, and they've decked us out with shelves, so actually it looks as close as we can possibly make it to a supermarket. Now, what we do is we say to people that you can come and we want you to pick the things off the shelf. We want you to treat this like a shop. So we send a volunteer with them, around with them, just to start to try and build a relationship, but then also just to let them know that they can't have 16 boxes of Cocoa Pops, they can only have 1. But it's about restoring dignity to people. So we're not here to serve you, we're just here to be a friend. If you want a packet of Cocoa Pops, then take a packet of Cocoa Pops off the shelf. And on average, people would get easily in excess of £20 worth of shopping, but what we do is one of the first questions that we ask them is, how big is your family? We have some families with 9 children, so clearly they need more food than someone who's living by themselves, unless they really like Cocoa Pops. We've also just recently started giving out clothes as well. Someone was emigrating and decided to give us all of their clothes, so we have them on rails and people are able to help themselves, and we've been giving out lovely warm coats and jumpers and that sort of thing, which is a really big help to people who are in a difficult place at this point in time. Now, due to Croydon Council's financial issues and the COVID restrictions, it's not been possible for Croydon Council frontline officers to be present at the food stop, and that's why we are immensely grateful to Julia and Kevin for coming alongside and helping us and being able to provide that support work to them. It's always been the aim of the food stop to make sure that we don't have people using us for years and years. We want to be able to lift them up out of the place where they find them, help them find training, help them find employment, get them help with the benefits, help them by putting them in touch with charities, and having Julia alongside us allows us to make that happen. So, we've been tracking our statistics of the number of people who use the food stop, including the size of the household, for our first 12 months. And in our first 12 months, we had 2,071 families use the food stop. Each of those people took a conservative estimate of £20 worth of shopping, which equated to us distributing a commercially equivalent value of £41,420 worth of groceries. The food shop members contributed £7,248.50 via their £3.50 weekly membership fee, which means that Oloding Food Stop has saved vulnerable people in Purley and South Croydon £34,171.50 during that period of that first 12 months, which I just think is an amazing achievement. And we fully expect to see our numbers go up, certainly over the next few months. At the moment, we average around 40 people turning up on a Friday morning, but it's occasionally up at 70 people on a Friday morning. Thankfully, not too often we get that many people, but we estimate that we've probably got around 200 or so people kind of regularly on our books. And again, we're very thankful they don't all turn up, otherwise my stack of beans will have gone very quickly. And as we've already talked about, the removal of the £20 top-up on universal credit is going to mean that sadly we are going to see our numbers go up. But thankfully we're well placed at this point in time to be able to deal with that. It was a great joy at Christmas time this last year to be informed that our volunteers at the Old Lodge Lane Food Stop had been not only nominated but had won one of the categories in the Mayor of London's Volunteer Awards, which was just, it didn't get us any money sadly. We got a letter from Sadiq Khan, but do you know what, it was just a tremendous boost for the hard work that actually particularly some of our younger volunteers put in over the COVID pandemic. So I want to again thank you for your support of us over the last 12 months. We couldn't have done it without the help and support of Purley Food Hub. And I'm particularly grateful for the sense of partnership that exists between the two of us as well. And we're very much looking forward to what the future holds. I think we're very well placed with us as groups and organisations to be able to well serve the people in our community. Thank you.